Mr. Anders Thompson, Brian Ndai, Deputy Representative to UNICEF, FAO representative, other representatives from various SMPS partners, government officials, esteemed guests and dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to invite you to this inaugural celebration of African Statistics Day 2021, November 2021, November 18, sorry. I would first of all like to, on behalf of the conveners, honestly and sincerely apologize for the huge delay, which is understandable given the context in which we are in. So I would want to honestly apologize to all of you for the inconveniences that might have been caused by the delay. First of all, before I go through the program, I would like to invite Ahmed Badr in order to bless our event with a word of prayer. Ahmed.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you very much, Ahmed, for the short but very important word of prayers. You know, in Somali context, as is the Muslim context, all events must be blessed, and it's my honest hope that this one will be specifically blessed because of the very important people whose attendance it has attracted. Very quickly, because in the interest of time, I will very quickly go through the program. There will be welcome remarks by Shamarke Farah, who is the SMPS Director General, the convener and the host. Then thereafter, there will be guest remarks by Mr. Anderson Thompson, UNFPA representative in Somalia. Thereafter, there will be guest remarks, British Ambassador to Somalia, Kate Foster, Mr. Afgoye, who is the Auditor General, has sent his apology and will therefore not be available for his remarks. And then thereafter, there will be remarks by Mr. Asad Yusuf, SMPS Board Chair, then remarks by Ambassador Gamal M. Hassan, Minister of Planning, Investment and Economic Development. Then there will be keynote remarks. I think there will be an apology from the Minister. So after that, I know that tea is ready, but the time for tea has already been consumed. Even that, so anyone can pick his tea and enjoy. So there will be no room for tea break. So immediately after these remarks by the honorable members I've mentioned, there will be a panel of discussion to be moderated by Hudayfa Adan. And the panel of discussion's topic will be enhancing statistical capacity and literacy for policy action. The panelists will be Ambassador Gamal Hassan, Minister of Planning, Investment and Economic Development, Mr. Abdurrahman M. Abdullahi, Central Bank of Somalia Governor, then Mr. Mohammed, there will be a representative for UNFPA. I know that Dr. Mohammed Ayuya is not available, but his deputy will be filling in for him. Thereafter, then we have among the panelists Mr. Anderson Thompson of UNFPA representative to Somalia, Professor Abdi M. Kuso, SMPS Board of Director member, Mr. Shamarke Farah, Director General, SMPS, who is the host of this event. Thereafter, there will be fireside chat, question and answer sessions, closing remarks by Mr. Abdurrahman Omar Hassan, SMPS Deputy Director General. End of the session, lunch will be served sumptuously, of course. Without much ado, I would like to invite Shomarke Farah, SMBS Director General, for his opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abukar. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ambassador Gamal Mohammed Hassan, Minister of Planning, Investment and Economic Development. Mr. Abdirrahman Abdullahi, Governor of the Somalia, Central Bank of Somalia. Mr. Asad Yusuf, Chairperson of the Somali National Bureau of Statistics. Mr. Anders Thompson, UNFPA representative. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the Somali National Bureau of Statistics Board, management and staff, it is my honor and pleasure to welcome you to this inaugural African Statistics Day commemoration in Somalia. Your attendance is a testimony to the importance that you attach to the value of statistics in planning, monitoring, and evaluation of the National Development Plan, and as well as the Sustainable Development Goals. On the outset, I would like to recognize and acknowledge our chief guest, Ambassador Gamal Mohammed Hassan, Minister of Planning, Investment and Economic Development, for honoring our invitation to officiate this celebration. We thank you for availing your time from your busy schedule to attend this event. On the same note, I would like to acknowledge Ambassador Kate Foster, British Ambassador to Somalia, and Anders Thompson, UNFPA representative, for joining us. In a special way, I would also like to thank all the panelists and speakers for accepting to share their experiences during this event. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a special day in the calendar of the National Bureau of Statistics across the continent. In Africa, as we celebrate this day to raise the awareness of the importance of statistics in all aspects of social, economic, and environmental dimensions impacting the quality of life of our continent. The main objectives of this celebration are 5 prongs and are meant to first increase the awareness of statistics and availability and accessibility, number 1. Number 2, create dialogue between producers and users of official statistics. Number 3, engage the public and private sector in the production, dissemination, and use of statistics. Number 4, enhance the capacity of academicians, local government, media to use and access official statistics for evidence-based decision-making and reporting. And finally, to disseminate statistical publications. This year, the theme is modernizing national statistics systems to support sociocultural development in Africa. The theme was chosen to raise awareness among researchers and the general public about the importance of data and statistics in the process of building back better and more inclusively in the post-COVID pandemic. Like every sector in the economy, the pandemic has created unprecedented challenges for the national statistics agencies across the world. But it has also created an opportunity for countries to leverage statistics in responding to the adverse impact of the pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, at the Somali National Bureau of Statistics, this commemoration is special to us for various reasons. First, it's an opportunity to reflect on the progress that the National Bureau has attained since its establishment as an independent hub for the country in 2020. Over the past 2 years, under the guidance of the board led by Mr. Asad Yusuf, the Somali National Bureau of Statistics has registered significant successes in our effort to establish a center of statistical excellence with capacities to conduct the collection, collation, compilation, coordination, analysis, evaluation, and dissemination of all national statistical information. We have recently conducted and published the first labor force survey and the demographic health survey which have been critical for the socio-economic development of our country. We are currently undertaking the Integrated Household Budget Survey, which will contribute to Somalia's economic recovery by producing reliable data on GDP, household expenditure, which will ultimately contribute to the design of appropriate government interventions and assist various partners with their humanitarian and economic and social responses. We are currently in the midst of undertaking a multiple indicator cluster survey in 2022 with the support of UNICEF. We are also planning to undertake national census in the coming 2 years after nearly 30 years of hiatus. We will be calling all stakeholders to support us in these efforts, especially in the census effort. The recent historic formal agreement with FAO on the transfer of FSNAU and Swallowing project is a testimony to the commitment of the federal government and partners to official statistics and the improvement of collection, analysis, management, and reporting of data across Somalia. Secondly, today is an opportunity to engage diverse set of stakeholders and highlight their role in statistical development. We believe that as an organization, we can attain our ambitious goal of becoming a center of excellence within the next 5 to 10 years through partnership with data users, producers, and critical stakeholders like the development partners, researchers, and academicians. That way, we will be able to achieve our core mandates through commitment to transparency, accountability, and leveraging advances in technology, provide evidence-based, accurate, accessible, and centralized national statistics system to help in the planning, execution, attainment of national development goals. Thirdly, the high-quality statistics can be expected when agencies responsible for the production of statistics adhere strictly to the United Nations fundamental principles of official statistics and comply with African Charter of Statistics. In addition to abiding by the professional standards, applying scientific principles, observing professional ethics, and complying with the rules of confidentiality in order to produce high-quality data, national statistics offices need to ensure that their approach is informed by the characteristics of relevance, sustainability, accuracy and reliability, continuity, coherence and compatibility, timeliness, topicality, and specificity. Somali National Bureau of Statistics, although still in its nascent stage, subscribes to these principles. Finally, I would like to express my confidence that through our collaborative efforts, implementation of the framework with the private sector, development partners, federal member states, and other government agencies and ministries will bring our data quality to greater heights to support evidence-based decision-making. As I conclude, I once again thank you for your kind attention and honoring the invitation to participate in the celebration and commemoration of Africa Statistics Day and championing the improvement of our official statistics. With these remarks, it's my pleasure to invite the UNFPA representative to Somalia, Mr. Anders Thompson, to make his remarks. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Excellency Minister Jamal Hassan, Director General Shamarke Farah. I want to acknowledge also the presence of Ambassador Kate Foster from the UK. Also, we have colleagues from other donors who have contributed tremendously to development of statistics in this country, particularly Sweden, who are here with us today, and I want to acknowledge and thank them for their presence. I also want to acknowledge the presence of Asad Yusuf, the chair of the board of the Somali National Bureau of Statistics, and of course many other colleagues who are here today. This is a day where we come together to really celebrate working together. And I was also particularly asked and requested to speak not as UNFPA, but to speak on behalf of the United Nations. And this is very easy to do when we talk about statistics, because when one agency provides or does work to make statistics available, everyone will use it. When we work together in working groups, one of the beautiful things about working in statistics is that there is a camaraderie. People always work together. People always pull together and always work in the same direction. And it's sort of a culture that is embedded. I don't know if it's something that people who study statistics or demographics, that they are sort of, they get from university, but there is a certain professional pride in what we do, and the focus on the technical aspects is always there. So it always pulls us together. So I want to also celebrate that today. Now, a lot is changing in Somalia. I think the 20th February 2020 was probably one of the most important dates in the history of Somalia recently, and probably the least celebrated. But that was the date that the president actually signed the decree into law to establish the Somali National Bureau of Statistics. And having an independent statistical bureau has led the way for so many countries in Africa for having independent, neutral data sets for planning that are not politicized, that are not influenced, that are trusted by the populations around African nations. One of the countries that we have worked with very, very closely and been inspired by in Somalia, and I see some of the colleagues who have been there with me, is the National Bureau of Statistics in Rwanda, in Kigali. And here is a country that went through a difficult history, but they come around statistics in a way where statistics becomes the uniting force, the foundation for them to plan a better future together. And I think that this is the path that we are already on in Somalia. It has become a uniting force that is pulling parts of the country together, but also the international community. And I want to thank Shamark Farah for his leadership, because already with your leadership, it has become a trusted institution that we all rally around. Yes, we do different things. You have mentioned all the surveys, the statistics, the mixed, the Somali National Health and Demographic Survey, so many things that we want to do. But I also want to acknowledge that we are standing before a huge challenge, a collective challenge, and that is to make sure that we, as this united force, make sure that Somalia has a full population census in the foreseeable future. And I know there's a lot of discussions about that. Oh, it can't be done, it's too complicated, people, they will not agree, it's politically sensitive, etc., etc. But I want to remind everyone in the audience that they're able to do it in countries like Palestine. Even behind the scenes, although nobody will admit it, there are open channels of communication with the Israelis to make sure that we can count people and we can plan, we can get statistics. They did it in Iraq. They have done it in so many countries where it is difficult. So surely it can also be done in Somalia. When people, when we set out to do the Somali health and demographic survey, people said, oh, it cannot be done, it's too risky, it's too expensive, we can't trust the data, etc. But we did it. So I know I'm here, it's a bit of a pep talk, but I want to everyone to know, and this is also, I know, being streamed outside, and there are other people listening, we can do this census together in a short amount of time. We will make it a simple process the first time around. We will make it uncomplicated. We will make it completely apolitical, so we get it done. And then we can always, in 10 years from now, make it more complex. So today, Africa Statistics Day, it's a day of celebration. It's a day where we celebrate particularly the Statistics Act. We celebrate the 20th of February 2020, but we also celebrate that institution, the Somali National Bureau of Statistics, and how that has become a defining force in the development of Somalia. And then with that celebration, we look to the future, and hopefully in a couple of years when we're here together on this same day, we will celebrate the fact that together we managed to do a full population census for Somalia. So thank you very much, and please enjoy the day.
Thank you so much for those excellent and kind remarks, really. Thank you so much. I would like to now invite Excellency Ambassador Kate Foster to give her remarks.
Ambassador Gamal, Governor, Board Chair, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm really delighted to be here with you today, and I want to thank the DG very much for his kind invitation to join this important day of celebration. So statistics are really close to my heart personally. My mother was a statistician, and she was so passionate about the importance of statistics and understanding numbers that my brothers and I had to pass mental arithmetic tests before we got dinner. So perhaps in that way, numbers are also close to my stomach. But more seriously, that's possibly why I started my career studying demography and social policy, so statistics and their analysis and understanding how vital they are to the location, prevalence, nature of socioeconomic variables, to understand how they change over time, including in response to services and interventions. So the UK is a deep believer and very privileged supporter of this work and of the Bureau. But I also am a very strong advocate and believer in this work, and it's something that I'm going to very much engage in my time here. I think, as others have mentioned, a functional statistical system is really critical for a country's ability to design, to deliver, to monitor services to its population, and of course for the wider development community to design and understand the impact of our programs and interventions. Up-to-date comprehensive population counts are absolutely critical for one person, one vote elections, and high-quality economic and poverty data is needed to target development plans, to monitor that progress, and to support big things such as the debt relief process that are so fundamental for the progression of Somalia. So the UK feels really privileged to have worked with Somalia statistical capacity building over the past decade, from the 2014 Population Estimates Survey for Somalia, and then on the 2020 Health and Demographic Survey. And this was really the first survey to provide evidence on the health and demographic characteristics of the Somali population, and provided a really strong focus on women and girls, a really important section of the population. And it's great that this data is already being used to benchmark and inform the design, I know, of our work in the UK, and I think of others as well, on health and demographic issues. And it's been really brilliant to hear from colleagues about how it's also been used to focus and target interventions, to spark discussions and debate, and to inspire further research by Somali administration, as well as the wider research and development community in Somalia. Critically, I'd also like to really thank Anders and the approach taken by UNFPA. I think in doing with and not for the Somali authorities and has really built capacity and capability in the Somali administration and now in the Statistical Bureau that will endure for years to come. And I think that immense progress that's been made over the past 8 years to bolster capacity within the statistical system, of course, culminated in the passing of the 2020 Somali Statistics Law, which established the Somali National Bureau of Statistics, the establishment of the board, the development of the national strategy for the development of statistics, and the capability, drive, and enthusiasm that we see are really cause for immense positivity, something that you should all be proud of, and excitement. But I think despite this, there is this progress, there is a huge task ahead that others have alluded to, and still continuing to work to fill the long-standing data gaps, ensuring coordination across the statistical system. So I think, as we're all aware, Somalia hasn't had a census since 1986, 87, and that those results still weren't officially released. And we know this is very much a priority for the Bureau and for the Somali population, who understandably want to be counted. And as the bedrock of a functioning statistical system, it is in and of itself an absolutely critical milestone, and it will be a large and complicated endeavour. So we're very much here as the UK to continue to provide support to this work via the UNFPA and the World Bank in the pre-census planning that's currently underway, on the building of capabilities, on the provision of technical assistance at federal and member state level, the ongoing analysis and use of the vital health and demographic data, and the upcoming implementation on the economic and statistical capacity building project, which will look to support collection and analysis of economic data. So we very much look forward to continuing our work in this critical area as the UK, working in partnership with the Somali administration and the wider donor community to really continue to build on the significant achievements to date. So I want to really thank colleagues for the work that has been done and the progress over the past years, and really wish you luck in that, continuing that process moving forward. Many thanks.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Kate Foster. I think with those remarks, I think Kate Foster is, in addition to her being the ambassador of UK to Somalia, she is now the ambassador for statistics. With her, with her, family background and her personal, background also in statistics. And just want to also, with the remarks also made on the census, I think census is really the biggest milestone to date for Somalia in the post-conflict era. And I was in the office of the Prime Minister when we crossed the key milestone of Somalia decision point debt relief, and we did that with UK's championing. So the position of championing census is vacant, and we propose that to the UK. Absolutely. So thank you so much. I would now like to invite the chairperson of the board, Mr. Asad Yusuf, to make his remark.
Thank you so much, Sharmake. Thank you all. I would first like to recognize His Excellency Minister of Planning, Ambassador Jamal, Ambassador Foster, Central Bank Governor, Mr. Abdurrahman, the DG, Deputy DG, but also, of course, very important to recognize my fellow board member, Mr. Kuso, Professor Kuso. I will keep it short. I will try to be very succinct. Much has been said, really useful remarks. I just want to take us a bit back to see the bigger picture, the sort of recent history of this Bureau of Statistics. The law was passed and gazetted on the 24th of February, 2020. I want to thank for that Minister Jamal, for his tireless efforts to ensure that the law was passed and gazetted in quite a record time. We have to remember the tenure of the new government had started mid-17. So that was already one of the biggest milestones, and you could see the importance that this bureau had for the government. I also want to thank the minister for recruiting the highly sought-after DG Sharmarke, who was then at the office of the Prime Minister. Not only that, he ensured that the existing DG, when the Bureau of Statistics was within the Ministry of Planning, Mr. Abdurrahman, became the Deputy DG. For that, I also want to thank the Minister and his fellow ministers at the Cabinet. What does it signify? To me, NBS, the National Bureau of Statistics, signifies the compass that we have to navigate the seas of development. We were first data users, even as a statistics bureau, or directorate at that time. We're transitioning to data producers. This is the true meaning of ownership of your own fate. So this will provide us, and this is the hope, the challenge towards the leadership, the board, but also the cabinet, the government as a whole, to ensure that we navigate the seas of development together using this compass of the Statistics Bureau. So we believe this is a pathway to be the captain of our own fate. There are many challenges already overcome, as I just mentioned a couple. There are many more ahead. It was just mentioned by Ms. Foster, mentioned by DG, and I'm sure other members, other speakers will mention this. There are many challenges ahead, many have been overcome, but we believe together with our partners and our leaders, we shall overcome, inshallah. As a board, our task is to ensure we facilitate and guide the work of the National Bureau of Statistics. The most important issues on our table, the most important subjects and milestones are the census, which was already mentioned. The last census happened, I think it was in 1975. This is almost half a century ago. We simply do not know how many people actually live in Somalia. The question becomes, how do you make policies? How do you make strategies? How do you ensure that you're serving your people if you do not know how many of them are living in your country? This is why the census will be one of the greatest challenges during our tenure. We have a 5-year tenure as a board. That will be the greatest challenge that we have. And we have ensured that we are best equipped to deal with these challenges through, for example, we have a subcommittee, and Professor Kuso is the chair of that subcommittee. We believe, under the guidance of the board, the cabinet, but also the executive, the DG and deputy DG, and our partners, we shall overcome that challenge. The other challenge is institution building. This is a relatively new institution. We are just in the process of building that institution, both in terms of human resources as well as the hardware. That is another challenge that we as the board take very serious indeed, and we look forward to facing these challenges together with all of you here. I would like to reaffirm the determination and continued readiness of the Statistics Bureau to intensify cooperation and collaboration among all the partners in the face of the challenges that we have both passed as well as ones that we are about to face, inshallah. I want to thank you for your kind attention. Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure and an honor for me to invite His Excellency, the Minister of Planning, Ambassador Jamal.
Assalamu alaikum. Subax wanaagsan. Abdurrahman Muhammad Ali, Governor of Central Bank of Somalia. As a Yusuf Chairman of the Bureau, Mr. Sharmak Farah, Director General, Dr. Abdi Kuso, Board Member, Ambassador Kate Foster, British Ambassador to Somalia, Mr. Anderson Thompson, UNFPA representative, and also my brother, the UNICEF rep here. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Subax wanaagsan. It's a great pleasure to join you this morning as you commemorate the 2021 African Statistics Day. Under the federal government of Somalia, the responsibility for organizing, gathering statistical data, analyzing it, and disseminating it to the Somali public rests primarily with the Somalia National Bureau of Statistics. The Minister of Planning is arguably the biggest consumer of this information. We are therefore excited to join you for this celebration. As you may already know, SMBS was initially a department within the Ministry of Planning, but is now a fully fledged independent entity with its own organizational structure, a board and able management team led by DG Sharmake. I'm therefore acutely aware of the vital role of the statistics play, not just in planning, but in our overall public resource allocation and distribution. Good statistics tell the full and honest story of the population from which they are collected. Over time, they tell us what's happening in the economy, our society, and our capacity to govern ourselves in accordance with the Constitution and our laws. Collecting reliable data largely depends on cooperation from the people across the country, first and foremost, and all other stakeholders and organizations represented here. I want to thank them all for the cooperation and honesty with which they respond to requests for information by the National Bureau of Statistics. On the same note, I would like to applaud the SMBS for the great work they have done in a very brief time since it was established almost 2 years ago. We take pride in the work done with both the Household Budget Survey and the Labor Task Force report. These two have given the Minister of Planning significant insights on how to prioritize various social economic issues for our country. The contribution to the development of reliable statistical systems is paramount to the achievement of national development strategies, sustainable development, and sustainable development goals, the SDGs. This is a task of all of us, the government, the private sector, the NGOs, and our development partners. Against this background, we are confident in the capability of SMBS to undertake the national census in 2023. I have faith in the team's technical know-how, and I would like to assure you of the government's full support while undertaking the population and housing census. Ladies and gentlemen, I understand that data collection is not an easy task, as many people may be tempted to believe. It needs some understanding on the part of the data collectors, as well as data providers, including some feedback mechanisms from data users. Thus, I would like to appeal to all stakeholders to work together so that the data collected meet the desired need for evidence-based policy design and planning, and support implementation, monitoring progress, and evaluating outcomes and impacts of development initiatives. The presence of all of us here signifies the importance of the development of statistics in our countries. I therefore wish to emphasize that it is through collaboration among all the stakeholders that the statistics development agenda will be achieved. Ladies and gentlemen, the continued cooperation and support by the development partners in the development of our national statistical system is highly appreciated. Without adequate human, technical, and financial support in this area, the provision of accurate, timely, independent, and reliable statistics would not be possible. On that note, in a special way, I would like to thank all our partners, including UNICEF, UNFPA, the UK government, amongst other development partners. As I conclude, allow me to remind the public at large on the usefulness of statistics in planning and in our day-to-day activities. It is evident that one cannot contemplate any objective planning for socioeconomic development without looking at the available information, and particularly the statistical data that justify such plans. With those remarks, I would wish to once again thank you for extending this invitation to the Minister of Planning and to join you in this very important commemoration. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much to all the speakers, especially Excellency Ambassador Gamal for his excellent remarks, keynote speech, should I say. We'll quickly be setting up the panel discussion as we are skipping the tea. So if anybody wants to order tea, they can. We are happy to call the waiters. So thank you.
Nomor wasiir arriba.
Ya.
Shirooto waa miyaan?
Doorasho rabtaa.
Ma ilo maanta Ingiriis uga hadlay mugtahay. Kani inuu xiran. Staan ahaan isma rabtiin adig. Aqal macana ku xirtano.
Ana haddii kale maanta way kala dhigayaan.
Ay baash soo qabto kaamil soo. Sana may okay. Telefoon ka dal lo bas public yun kay mati ya good no kay lo sa kala. Magkaf ko school di ba?
School di ba niya?
Ko wax dim mala wa sa kay.
Welcome back, and thank you. I want to honestly thank you for forcing tea break, even though it was not in the program. In the heat of the moment, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Mohammed, SBS Communication Specialist. Without further ado, I would like to invite the panelists on stage. Please, the panelists. I would like to invite Central Bank of Somali Governor, Mr. Anders,
Actually, the governor. Good. Or
Professor Kuso, UNICEF representative, I'll now hand over to Rinfa Adam, who is addressing the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. We will kick off the second part of the program today. And as we indicated in the program, we have a list of distinguished panelists who will be able to take us through the second part of the program. There are a few panelists who are to join us as well, including Minister Jamal Hassan, that due to our official engagements, he's not able to be here with us. Also on this list of panelists who was supposed to be the Auditor General, but again, due to official duties, he was not able to be with us here today. Can I please get a seat as well so that I can go with that? So, I will quickly start the program. We have with us on stage representatives from UNICEF on my immediate right. And then thereafter, Mr. Anders Thompson, who is the representative here in Somalia. Then thereafter, there is Professor Abdi Mohamed Kuso, who spoke part of the Somali National Bureau of Statistics, the board of directors. And right next to him is the distinguished guest, the Somali Governor, Abdullahi, and thereafter on his immediate right is Shamali Mohammed Farah, who is Director General of Somali National Bureau of Statistics. So as we indicated, we would be talking about the importance of statistics on this African Statistics Day. And the topic that we selected is enhancing statistical capacity and literacy for policy action. I think that we can immediately get right into the questions. I see it's not coming on stage. So, Director General, the Somali National Bureau of Statistics is independent for just under 2 years now. How has the challenge been? How do you find the transition, especially in your role as Managing Director General? And what are some of the key events that you've undertaken within this role as SNBS Director General? We have another mic as well. We have another mic to pass around to our panelists. It will be nice.
Thank you very much, Dave. First, I want to take this opportunity to also first thank the distinguished guests and speakers in this panel. So I'm very pleased to be among such high-level distinguished guests, including the Governor of the Central Bank. So, I think with the establishment of the Somali National Bureau of Statistics, it has its own opportunities and challenges. So the opportunities is that, first of all, we have an independent bureau for the first time. I think that has created a space to treat statistics or depoliticize statistics and data for the first time. However, one of the challenges that still really largely remains and is one of our main challenges is that there is a lot of data collection in the country. So much data collection that respondents are at the stage of fatigue. However, that statistics does not make it into our official statistics. So when you look at data in Somalia, you don't see, there are many spaces unavailable, or there are many places you will see unavailable. So one of our key assignments is to how do we coordinate, or how do we play the coordination role, and how do we improve this? And we've embarked on so many activities related to this, including, first of all, establishing a coordination framework, strategic plans for the different sectors that we are operating. And we've made some significant, progress. The key progress I think that we've made in this area of coordination and ensuring that data really is centralized through the National Bureau of Statistics, as with other countries, is the transfer or agreement on the transfer of FSNU Swanen with FAO. We thank FAO and also its partners for this step that will contribute to the capacity and also the data availability of the country. So those were the key challenges. Other challenges still remain in terms of statistical capacity of the country, and also in the expertise of certain areas, including GIS. But nevertheless, I think we are making an impressive progress with our partners, including the UNFPA, UNICEF, with the World Bank, African Development Bank. I think with the current programs that are ongoing and our ability to also fill our statistical gaps using range of surveys. So we have in 2020 planned the integrated household budget survey, which will fill about 80% of the economic indicators through survey, and also the multiple indicator cluster survey, which will also again fill about 80% of the social indicators through on the social sector. So we're quite content with the progress, but obviously challenges remain. Thank you.
Obviously challenges remain, General. Now, quick one to Governor Rahman, who's one of the people who's really excited about interagency partnership and relations, because the central bank consumes or produces their own data as well. But they're also really excited about the number of people who have access to banks. I mean, this is one of the main things the central bank speaks about. So, Governor Abdulrahman, to what extent are you excited about the role of SMBs in improving access to accurate and reliable data?
Thank you, Hudayfa. I think it's like many of the colleagues have said today, having an independent statistical National Bureau of Statistics is what was missing. And now is the time to build that center, and I think it will transform the nation in terms of having data with integrity and center where all other agencies and anyone who needs the data turns to. we even in the Somali culture, we have our own saying. I will let maybe Sharmarke to translate. Marka xog la hela, tala la hela. So statistics is even important, not only as we know, but even the culture, our ancient culture. It is very important. And I think the key here is to have inter-agency collaboration to improve. And Central Bank has been pushing for the establishment of working group, macroeconomic working group. If we have working groups in each policy areas, I think it will improve the coordination among the different agencies. It will also create a forum for discussion and establish arena for collaboration to cooperate on key initiatives, which will also improve ownership, collective ownership of this data. As Sharmarke was mentioning, there are a lot of data collected, but it's not coordinated, and most of it is not even in the hands of the government agencies. So I think having National Bureau of Statistics is what's really needed. And from the central bank point of view, we're playing a key role in that working group, macroeconomic working group, with the intention to build the capacity of the civil servants of different agencies that contribute to the macroeconomic data and reporting of the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Governor. Let's speak about, first of all, Professor Kuso, besides being a member of the board of directors, he's a researcher himself. He's a professor who loves research. And a number of the things that I hear is that he says that there is not enough data about different aspects of Somali, what we call it, economy and social aspects. And even if it exists, it is within the NGOs or other partners who hold it so dearly. At times it will look like it's intelligence reports. So Professor Kuso, the access to data is something that is really, really key to you as a researcher. To what extent then do you hope that the Somali National Bureau of Statistics will improve the access to data, the access to official statistics that are verifiable, that are reliable, and how do you think the researchers like yourself can benefit from that statistics and data?
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you for Sharmarke and everybody who actually gave us the opportunity to come here and share some ideas with each other. I'm fascinated by the governor's comment, in other words, Mahma, which said, "Xog la hela, tala la hela." I guess roughly translated in that who has information has a way of making a meaningful decision. Maybe someone will help me or add something to it. So it's really a very excellent starting point in that statistics is really the lifeblood of a sound and sound public and private decision making, A. And two, the source and the raw material for accountability. Right? So if we have really reliable and meaning data, statistics, and information, and if that would actually give us a way of making meaningful decisions, policies, and it's really a way of all of us being accountable, those who lead us, those who make policy, to be accountable. However, it's not just statistics, right? It's not just numbers as such, but without high quality statistics and data, to provide the basis of what we're saying, sound decision making and accountability, it will be very difficult for us to make any kind of meaningful decision. The idea is that with that, it gives us the right information at the right time. We don't have the right information at the right time, then that will be difficult. It would allow us also to have, though the key requirement there is really design, a way of designing, monitoring, and evaluating effective development becomes really impossible, right, without having these two ideas as such. So this process really requires two things, and one thing is already achieved. I think that would be an independently led and fully autonomous statistical body, right? That's already achieved, but we hopefully want to push it to as much autonomous as possible. That's a very, very critical idea, right? That body has to really design, collect, and find a way of storing information and analyzing without the interference of political institutions and other individuals as such. So that's actually very, very critical in that sense. But the data and the statistics have to be really reliable, right? Because reliable in the sense of having really integrity and fidelity, right? Integrity and fidelity. What do we mean by that? What we're trying to do is to really measure, to really capture the distribution and the nature of the Somali population, right? That's really what we're trying to do. So the idea is, in order to really have meaningful information about the nature and distribution of the Somali population, we have to have a way of measuring exactly what we're trying to measure. So suppose if we, for example, speak about child mortality, death, for example, infant mortality, and all kinds of different benchmarks, if really the information that's collected, right, the information that's collected does not represent that actual number, then it's the same as not having information at all. In other words, if we have the wrong information, if we have collected the wrong information, it may be better to have a guesswork, because the person who's guessing something is more informed than a person who's working with just numbers multiplied by 2, and he's not thinking, or she is not thinking about anything else. Therefore, we really need to have reliable statistics and data free from interference that has integrity and fidelity as such. How do we get that? We need to really do a population or a head count. Right? Once we do a head count and we know every single Somali person in the country with certain socio-demographic information, then we can do all kinds of sampling. Right? Our sampling is reliable. Of course, there is nothing reliable in this world. There is nothing that's 100%, but at least we are nearer to that reliability, and we can say a survey on attitudes towards something, a survey on health issues, a survey of all kinds is actually says what it is saying. And the only way to have that is to have a population parameters, an actual head count from which a sample can be extracted. And I think we are towards that. with the leadership of Sharmarke, and I think we will achieve that, hopefully. And I think this will be the most important thing that Somalia and Somalis will achieve if we actually do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Kuso. Professor mentioned something around the population and housing census, and I know Shamaki is very passionate about it. So we'll come to it in the next round of questions. Now, my question goes to Anders, the UNFPA. There are a number of things that Professor Kuso mentioned about reproductive health. Would you possibly describe for us the relationship that you've had as UNFPA with the Somali National Bureau of Statistics before it was an independent body and now? Possibly describe for us what your relationship was like and to what extent the reports that have been coming out of the SMBS is beneficial to you in your office.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me back on the stage. We have a very, very close relationship with the Somali National Bureau of Statistics. And I want to actually apologize because, you know, the worst thing you can do as a parent or as a relative is to get someone's birthday wrong. And I said in my speech that it was the 20th of February when it was actually the 24th of February, the birthday of the Somali National Bureau of Statistics. So forgive me for that. It is definitely not reflective of our relationship because our relationship is very, very close. And it is something that, you know, we are proud to be associated with that institution, right? We would be proud of being associated with a professional institution of that caliber anywhere in the world. But what makes me really proud in the case of Somalia is that it's only taken less than 2 years for this child, and I will never forget the child's birthday again, but for already having filled the shoes of someone who needs to carry a much bigger responsibility, right? And I think it's worth recognizing how far that institution has already come. You see it in the caliber of the people that they have been able to attract. When you look at institutions in Somalia, you see good people, but you go to their offices and you see that they're struggling, you know, just to have a desk, etc. But here, I mean, I invite all of you, I guess it's okay on your behalf, for everyone to go and visit. They have some of the best offices you can have. I mean, so at all levels, I mean, this is a fully fledged institution, right? But yes, they have a really big job ahead of them. But I think when I talk about this relationship, and I'm very open about it, is because I really want everyone to know. And some of the issues that the Professor Kuso was discussing about the statistics, the reliability, the trust. The trust in the institution, the trust in the data, that is really fundamental. And I think that they are able to actually project that and to earn that trust with the community at large, both the national community and also the international community. So I think this is a really, really good starting point. And in terms of data production and getting the work done, as I said in my remarks, you can't do it alone. We have to attract expertise from all over the world to come and work with you. And we have to make sure that the data sets that we collect or you collect, that they become available in an electronic form for everyone. I know Professor Kusov is at the University of Iowa, for example. I mean, let's take some of his PhD students. Let them tap into those data sets so they can do analysis. Because at the end of the day, one thing is to collect the data, making sure it's accurate. But the next step is to really open it up so that everyone can do analysis and come up with new innovative ways of depicting and presenting the information, because that is what leads the way for better planning, for better engagement at the political level, etc. And all of this adds to the trust and to the image of the institution. So I look forward to seeing that evolving over the next couple of years and continuing this relationship that you referred to. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. My friend, I think UNICEF are one of the key partners for SMEs, and they are the guys funded the multiple indicator cluster survey that Shamaki mentioned. One of the main surveys as the SMEs intends to do next year. So UNICEF, as a key partner that funded even this very beautiful program today, what are the reports and surveys that you're most excited about from SMEs in the past and also in the future, such as things possibly you mentioned?
Okay. Thank you very much. For me, what I just want to remind people that really there is a saying that say that what is not managed, what is not measured is not managed. And this shows the importance of statistics. So if you want to improve the well-being of children and women in this country, we need to know how to measure it. And I think we were really excited with the demographic health survey that gave us very good indicators to know what is the status of the population.
Please take the mic a bit closer to your mouth.
Yes, the demographic health survey, I think, was one of the very, very interesting report for us, because we use it to prepare our plan to support the country. Also, I want also to mention a survey that was done in 2019, 2020. It was a micronutrient survey, because usually we talk about famine, but there is what we call hidden hunger. So actually, and this is micronutrients. When you have anemia, for example, among children, they will not perform well at school. So these are really some examples of reports that really were quite interesting for UNICEF.
Thank you very much indeed. This is, by the way, I completely forgot to introduce you. Biram Diaye, who is the Deputy Country Rep for UNICEF. DG Shamaki, back to you. We want to understand, and I know you're very passionate about the census. You mentioned it a number of times in your speech, but also in other, spaces as well. How excited are you about the census? When will it be done? How prepared is the Somali National Bureau of Statistics for census? And you have both the political and all the other goodwill that you need to conduct the census.
Thank you very much. I think as a statistics agency, the first question we get asked all the time, whether it is nationals or foreigners or internationals, is what's your population? But that's the starting point, before anything else, GDP, anything. So what's your population? So for us to be in the dark about it, I think is we're not doing our job. So that's the thing. But seriously speaking and technically, knowing your population has a lot to offer us. Professor Kuso, who's a member of the board, but also the chair of the census committee within the board, has mentioned, really, it is key for a lot of things, including in terms of our planning of household surveys that we conduct. But also, as a nation, it holds a lot of opportunities in terms of state building. So we're able to do our referendums in terms of constitution. We're able to do one person, one vote, as the Ambassador Kate mentioned this morning. It unlocks a lot of answers in terms of state building also. So So that's one thing. But in terms of our readiness, I think the question that we've always been asked when we first embarked on this mission with UNFPA. UNFPA and SMBS are actually one and together on this one. So on this mission, we're basically, when I say we mean together. So one of the questions that you ask us is, can you do it? Do the public and the government really want it? And I think we answered that one. We answered it emphatically, basically, by showing the capacity of the Somali National Bureau of Statistics, but also the commitment of the leaders. And that commitment will be further underlined next week when we will be launching, as per the law, as according to the law, the census will be gazetted on the 22nd of this month by the minister. And also we will be having a visit by the regional director of the UNFPA. And so this partnership is really key to seeing the fruits. But I think we've, with those questions, we've sort of answered our readiness and our excitement about census and what it holds for this country. Thank you.
The date for the census, possibly?
Yes, that's a very good question. So we plan to undertake it within 2 years. So by the end of 2023, there will be the field enumeration. So by November 2023, so on the day of the gazetting, so one of the things that will be happening is we will be publishing the plan, the overall timelines for the census. And obviously, as soon as, we will have the preliminary report on the census within a month after the completion of the field enumeration, and the full report will be out by middle of 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, D. Somali. Professor, immediately go to you in regards to housing, population and housing census. As a board of directors, how do you guarantee the fidelity of these numbers that are coming out of SMBS from political interference, which is one of the main realities and worries that a number of the partners within and without Somalia have? And they consistently speak about political interference. So as a board, how do you guarantee the fidelity of these numbers, especially the census, which would be is a political hot potato, as you know? How do you guarantee it?
Thank you. Thank you very much. That is actually the central question, I think. And integrity starts with us first, right? Integrity starts with us first. So if we make sure, and I think there are two components to this. One is the design and the carrying of a reliable and transparent census. Transparent in the sense that we, as the board and the director, come up with a process that is totally transparent to the people, because before we even say that we're expecting no interference from the government or from who or whatever, we have to make sure that what we're doing is really itself transparent. So hopefully we're going to create a process that is clear, transparent, in terms of designing and carrying and analyzing the census and all other kinds of statistics. One is we ourselves are at least careful. I'm hoping between the director and the chair, we're going to achieve that and the help of with our partners as such. Then once we can take care of that, then we can say to the government, the media, influential individuals and all kinds of people that this is exactly what we're doing. This is what it looks like. If you think that it's not clear, we can fix or go back. But once we present that to them, I'm very confident that we will have a taken care of fidelity, I think. That's one, the part of the design and the transparency as such. The second, I think, which is even more important, is the people of Somalia themselves, right? You, all of us. If we're not able to, get the support of the Somali people, and I'm sure we will get it, right? And this again goes back to the idea that if we are very clear about exactly what we're doing, then the Somali people will understand that. However, I really want to add the idea of, statistical literacy or statistical socialization or something. That is, we don't want to just ask the Somali people to say, we have designed this, we have did this, we have done that, accept it, right? We really, in the long term, start a process by which in our middle schools and high schools, we can add in our curriculum something about numerical literacy, something about statistical literacy. It's not actual math as such, but it is just adding the curriculum something that allows middle schoolers and high schoolers to have to be able to read, not language, but to read numbers in a simple way. What is an average? What's that? So when they see a table, when they see some product, they can interpret that. So if we're able to do that, then the Somali people will come with us, as such. So thank you very much.
Fantastic points from Professor Crusoe. You've advanced the highlight, especially you highlighted really the importance of statistical literacy. I am a journalist, but also a lawyer. So my friends, journalists in Somalia, every time challenge me in reporting economic and business news. But the feedback that I consistently get from the journalists who are doing the very best really to put out economic and business news is the need for statistical or even numerical literacy. The end users, these people that we are reporting for, need to understand what this economic growth of 6% means. They need to understand what this consumer price index really means, So if the people and users cannot understand, then there is no need for us to report on these things. And I'm sure Governor Abdulrahman can also agree on this matter, because the central bank will consistently put up numbers that would not at times end up in the news or will not be reported. Not because it's less important, but because people are not ready to digest or understand, or are not even equipped to understand these things. So as a central bank, how important is this statistical data literacy to you as an institution, and in what ways do you think the central bank and Somali National Bureau of Statistics can partner to advance these literacy programs from maybe the schools, but also end users and the general public as well?
Yeah, that's the key question here, Hudayfa. Thank you. I think the professor has covered a lot about the importance of data integrity. I think we have to continue, first of all, just to mention that awareness, to raise awareness on the credibility or trust of the data and consistency of methodology. I think that will help to build the trust, as several of my colleagues in the panel said. Regarding the literacy, the statistic literacy, I think we are not that advanced yet. We have a lot to do, but I think if key institutions like the National Bureau of Statistics, the Central Bank, this National Economic Council continue to produce policy-oriented papers and reports, eventually that is, and there are a lot of data available, as we said. It's not well coordinated, but a lot of data available already to disseminate that data through robust policy-oriented papers. Then that will help and increase the interest. And for the central bank, we are the regulator of financial sector and policy maker of that sector. And it's important to us that the data we are and the reports we are producing are understood and help other sectors. We will continue to work, collaborate closely with the partners and the new Bureau of Statistics. And I think Professor Kuso has suggested excellent ideas, even at the school level. That will also help the people, the interest, the importance. We all see the importance, the people in this panel and in this house, but not maybe the population as a large. Even our policy makers, unfortunately, has a long way to go in terms of statistical literacy. But eventually that's where we shift the focus. And the central bank will collaborate and other colleagues and contribute to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman Abdurrahman. UNICEF, in what ways are you hoping the Somali National Bureau of Statistics to raise the standards of churning out statistically sound and internationally verifiable and comparable data that gives a clear picture of the well-being of children and women?
Thank you very much. As you know, UNICEF, our role is really to promote child rights. And I think all governments, actually, including Somali government, has signed, has committed for the Sustainable Development Goal for 2030 to be reached. And among them, actually, there is a mixed survey, so that can help us to better plan, but also to monitor how we are progressing towards that. I think the future of most African countries, including Somalia, is on children. And actually, it is important, we all dream to make sure that all children of Somali, all Somali children are born healthy. They can have birth certificate. We were talking about birthday. And I think we don't know how many children actually in this country don't have birth certificate. I think it's less than 5%. And I think it's not only my colleague who made mistakes on birthday, but I think we don't know. And it's really important. And it's a child right to have a birth certificate. It's very important. Children have the right to be healthy, to be well-nourished, to live in a safe environment, to be educated, to be able to contribute to the well-being of Somalia. So I think, for me, I think data are important for action. If we collect data and we don't take action, for me, it's not necessary. It's a waste of resource. So for me, by having good quality data in a country like Somalia will help us to have better plans, including national development plans, including the support from partners. So I think having good plan is based on good data, but also being able to monitor progress, to identify bottlenecks, and to take action again. Because if you don't take action, really it's just collection of data, waste of money. So for me, really I believe having quality data, having surveys like MIX can help us to know what is the gap, in terms of what needs to be done to improve the situation of children, and at the end to take action so that tomorrow we have a healthy population in Somalia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Anders, I'll ask you the same question relating to how SNBS can improve the data, especially the reproductive data that UNDP is really keen on. And in what ways do you think possibly the census survey, population and housing census can improve in giving a clear picture of the situation of women, children, and Somalis in general, especially the reproductive health?
Yeah, no, thank you very much. But I have to give credit to my colleague from UNICEF, because I think he said it so well that we are doing this for a reason, and we should never forget why we are doing this. And it's for action. It is to improve lives at the end of the day. And when the government of Somalia sets out to do a population census, it is also to improve lives of the population of Somalia. It's with that concern, with that care, we set out to do a population census. Because it is very clear that, without really knowing the number of people that are in the country, number of people that are in different regions, how they have migrated from one place to another, what caused that, and so on, we cannot take corrective action. I have to give credit to the government of Somalia when they did the National Development Plan 9, because I think it was the first development plan that had a number of the population. It reads, this is Somalia, the population is, and then there is a number. I think in the National Development Plan 8, the number wasn't even there. So we are making progress. Now the problem is that when we move from that top number down to the state level, the regional level, the district level, the urban areas, and we shouldn't forget cities and municipalities and towns and all of this. We haven't touched upon it a lot, but they need to be included. They need to feel ownership of this data for action. This is where the discussion starts happening, and we have this agreement, right? So, but the problem is not the disagreement on the number. That's important to remember. But having agreement on the number is what will allow for the action that UNICEF colleague explained so well. And that action is to say, well, what is the catchment area that we need to define for a new hospital where mothers and children can have safe care, right? And you asked about reproductive health. If we know the catchment area, then we can define what is the investment needed for a hospital so we can have the right amount of people in that hospital to perform C-sections so the mother will not die. To have the right amount of incubators so the neonate will be taken care of. Right? So that's really at the root of all of this. And that's why we do care so much about getting that number right, because when there is discussion about it, you sit and you talk about, no, it's this or it's that, and you never get to planning for the catchment area, and you never get to mobilizing investment into that hospital that is needed. And this goes for education, this goes for other social sectors, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why it is so important, and that's why for us, we want to wholeheartedly support this effort, for the benefit of the Somali people.
Thank you very much. Indeed, Anders. This panel and today's proceedings are live on our pages. That's Facebook, Somali National Bureau of Statistics Facebook, and YouTube pages as well. But also it's live on Astan TV's Facebook and YouTube. So we'll be taking a round of questions from the public. I know there are a number of journalists and researchers and other people from other government agencies that are here who want to ask questions. So we'll take a round of three. But before that, I want to ask Sharmaki, who's the Director General of Somali National Bureau of Statistics, what are one of the key challenges that policymakers who speak to you as Bureau of Statistics mention in terms of using the statistics that are churned out by the researchers, by the statisticians,
at the Somali National Bureau of Statistics. So what are one of the key challenges that these policymakers highlight consistently whenever they're speaking to you, and how have you addressed this challenge that has been raised by the stakeholders?
Yeah, I think the challenge is common among countries, and especially developing countries. So whenever we speak to policymakers, the question is about availability and access to data. So the key challenge is they want a certain information that for their planning, for their sectoral planning. So this is the Minister of Commerce who wants trade-related data. It is the Ministry of Agriculture that wants, agriculture data. So one of the key challenges is that we are unable to sometimes provide them with all the data that they need for their planning. But we are, with plans and with the current, progress that we're making impressive progress to fill those statistical gaps. But also, I wanted to also highlight the governor, the Professor Kuso, and have actually talked about it, is about data literacy and the data socialization. So basically, one of the key audiences for any of the data that we produce is obviously the government and decision makers. However, this data is useful to the private sector, it's useful to students, it's useful to academicians, it's useful to the general public. So we want to raise their level of appreciation of data generally. So one of the ways we are doing this today, actually, is, as the Hudayfa just mentioned, is we are launching a YouTube channel that will allow the public to, first of all, know about our mandate and what we are about. What does the Somali National Bureau of Statistics do? Secondly, also be updated about our activities. So we have a number of surveys coming or already are in the process, so they will be. But thirdly, we will also be undertaking or actually publishing or posting trainings, curricular-based trainings on statistics. So that's really key, important to us. And that YouTube channel has been launched today. It's actually being launched today. So the first video is there. But over time, we will be posting, we'll be uploading many videos that will allow the public to appreciate the activities and the outputs and the production of statistics of the Somali National Bureau of Statistics. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. I see a number of people are really tired. I know not so many people love statistics, but also not so many people love long conversations by men. So I think we should pass around the mic to take a few questions from the audience. I know there are a number of journalists and researchers who are here who wanted to ask a question, but also my mic is not working. So if we have an extra mic for the audience, I'd appreciate if I can get another one as well. So do we have a lady, preferably, who has a question to either of the panelists, any of the panelists? Can we have one of the mics? First mic, first question is here. So we take a round of three to the panelists. I think that will be the only round of questions that we are taking before we end this second session. Would you please stand up, introduce yourself, and pose the question?
I'm already short, so if I don't stand up, maybe they don't see me, the people. Well, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to hear about statistics and Bureau of Statistics. we know how important it is. So we were asking ourselves, me and Barney, that for our experience, half of the population of Somalia should be women. But we look at you and we saw that there is 6 men sitting there. So we said, are we not in it? What's happening? How it come that no one thought about putting on the stage us, because in somehow we have been told about the UNICEF representative of how important it is for the childbirth, for the child protection, how important it is. The reproductive health was also mentioned several times by you and by Mr. Anderson. And as far as we know, those 2 aspects are something which is ours, not only a main issue. So just, this was just to say something about this issue. But let me say something that I myself, I am a medical doctor, but have been working for census and population issues for almost 30 years. And I can assure you that it's very important to have what Sharmarka was saying, or everyone on the stage, also Dr. Kuso and Andres, and also the Central Bank. You need a denominator for everything that you do. If you don't have that number down, then the number that you put up doesn't make any sense. If I wanted to measure the maternal mortality or the neonatal mortality, I need to know how many of reproductive women is in the population that I am measuring, as everyone was saying. So what is really admirable is we know the difficulties that we had as a country. We know how far that we went. We know what it means when you say you cannot do it. And I think it's really very admirable the way that the team of a statistical agency are trying to push the impossible, because we need to tempt the impossible at one point. Otherwise, we will not go to the possible. But it is needed to have also a real capacity building. For the institution, we need to build the institution, its people, trained people, get all the help possible for them to be able to go into the stage and look also what can work and what can't. So I think I will stop there, because in 2 years what they are pushing is very admirable, and we are all here to help them and see that for them to learn what some of us knows, whether it's a difficult or positive things. So I am very, very happy to be here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. So all this time, we were mansplaining reproductive health. So I'd allow Sharmarke, who is the Director General of Somali National Bureau of Statistics, to respond to that, and any other of the gentlemen here. So Sharmarke, do we have female statisticians for us?
Yeah, I think first of all, before I answer, it's good to thank you for pointing this out. I think the first point is to acknowledge we have a lot to do in terms of female representation as a government generally, but also as a statistics bureau. So we in the statistics bureau, at least, we have 20% of all the statisticians or all the staff are 20% of them are female. But 40% of them are at the management director level. So we have 5 directors, 2 of them are females, so 40% there. But even with 40%, we still feel we need to do a lot. And your point, nevertheless, is well noted, so thank you so much.
Any of the other gentlemen who wants? Oh, okay, yeah.
Do we have another microphone?
I just want to say that for me, all Somali women and girls are excellent statisticians, to respond to your question. Why I'm saying that? Because we know in most African countries, it's women who cook. And when you cook, you do sampling. Because you put salt in the food and you taste it. It's a sampling. To me, this is sampling. And when we eat well, our lunch is because you are good samplers. You are good in statistics. And we need to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. I'll take two more questions from this side. There is a gentleman who's a journalist, I think, towards the end. White shirt. And then final question from our friend. So two questions and then we can immediately respond to them. You can go first and then.
Okay.
You take both.
Thank you, DJ Shamarke and other members. My question go to the UNICEF director, Mr. Mohammed. We know mix is very important our country, and in the world the mix is going 7. We know mix 7. So as a demographer, I know the last mix we gonna did for our country in mix 6, 4, I think, the region Puntland and Somaliland. We are still we have a gap in mix, so it is a strategy to go forward in like our neighbor countries or mix 7. So you need to running for the mix cluster survey as well as very quickly, because we are delayed to in other world. So what is the strategy to do mix in our country? Is very quickly or is later than? That's our question.
Thank you very much. Let's take that as the last question. Time is not on our side, so that we could quickly wrap up. A question, gentlemen, white shirt.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I am Mohammed Kahir from the VOA News. I have 3 short questions to the 3 gentlemen sitting there. Before that, I think I will be very mean not to congratulate the Somali establishment of this important, significant institution in our country. 3 questions are about, one to Somali National Bureau of Statistics about the census expected, despite, and how you maybe expect to overcome the challenges related to security when you're conducting. The second question goes to UN population. Since this is your area, the kind of support expected from your side towards the government on when they are conducting this. And the third question goes to the Central Bank of Somalia, and that is, how do you expect this institution, newly established institution, how is it significant to economic reforms and ongoing debt relief, which is believed to maybe economic development in the country? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. We can take that round of question. I think the first one was to you, DG.
Thank you very much. I think for the question, so it's a very pertinent question about the challenges. There are many challenges to census. I think you explained the fact that
the need for it and the importance of it and things like that. But when you come to doing it, you will face a lot of challenges. So one of the challenges is obviously security. But I think this is not an answer for me, just as a DG, but also for all of us. It's for the government, it's for the public, it's for our partners. To be counted is a right, so that right has to be extended to everybody. and we have to reach everyone, regardless. So how do we ensure that is a question really for all of us. But our aim is to cover everyone, to have everybody the right to be counted. Thank you very much.
Second question is to you, Dr. Rahman.
I think it was the last question regarding how these efforts will contribute to the economic development. As you know, the banks are the center of the economy and development. And we have, the central bank has recently started issuing quarterly reports, which includes financial sector review. And for policy making, to have this kind of report is very, very critical. And we received very good feedback from the sector, and it's part of the mandate of the central bank to support the development of the sector, which we all agree is key to the economic development. And when you have the necessary data, and it will help us to have an evidence-based policy as a policy maker for the sector. We have large mobile service providers, companies, which are now brought under the supervision and oversight of the central bank, plus the banks and other financial sector players. So these are very helpful to the economy because we use this data analysis and these evidence-based reports to ensure financial stability, to prevent what you call systemic risk. So these are very helpful for the economic development. So I think the role is very clear. What we are doing here is to make the National Bureau of Statistics the center of this. And once we have data available today, to be frank, we have a lot of data, but accessibility is an issue, and also it's not coordinated. And if we build our National Bureau of Statistics, I think this will help the sector, the central bank's regulator, and the economy in general tremendously. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. If we have final closing remarks from the panelists, it will be nice. We are running out of time. So, generally, any final comments on statistical literacy? Yes, we start with there and then we go right into charity commission.
Just maybe if you allow me to respond to the question from one of the journalists about the mix. So I think for the mix, is a question that was directed to UNICEF, but I would be happy even if it was directed to NBS. Because really, mix is not a UNICEF support, it's not a UNICEF survey, it should be a government-led survey. I think we want NBS leadership to be on the driving seat. This is really critical for the success of the mix. And also we want also support from donors. UNICEF is not a donor. The push will come from donors. But I think it is important for NBS to mobilize donors to support and fund the mix. So as UNICEF, we can provide technical support and advice to make sure that we get the results. So this is what I wanted to add. But really, again, maybe just as a final word, I think I said at the beginning, for me, what is not measured is not managed. maybe better evolution. This is my key message. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. As a final closing remark, I really just want to express my gratitude to the organizers of this event, because I think celebrating statistics is maybe something people will think of as something dry, but as we've seen, the richness of the information and the richness of this discussion is something really, really very important. So I think this is the first time we do it in Somalia. I look forward to repeating this event every year. Hopefully we can do it in different parts of the country, so it's not in a fancy hotel like this, but we actually get out there and sit under a tree with some of the members of the population that this is really meant to serve. So I look forward to sitting under the tree and having that conversation with not only the others, but certainly most importantly the women of the community. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I just want to take this opportunity to really thank our distinguished panelists for availing their valuable time to share their experience with the participants. Really, it's been a very useful day, I feel, and I really just want to thank them. And in terms of the question on mix, yes, as the Deputy Representative of UNICEF has mentioned, we are the lead, so this is a government exercise, and I think UNICEF is a key partner in this, and really, from a technical point, as the Deputy Representative mentioned, is integral part of this. So, but we have plans, and I'm happy to share with you how we'll be going about this. But then, as a final remark, really want to thank all the participants, and also want to thank the chairperson of the Somali National Bureau of Statistics for staying throughout. So thank you very much. We still have one more remark, closing remark, by the Deputy Director General of the Somali National Bureau of Statistics, who will be making the final concluding remarks. So if we can stay for that, and then we will be going for lunch. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed to the panelists led by Dr. Abdullahi, Director Marke, Professor Abdukuso, sponsor of the and UNICEF. Thank you very much indeed for the great conversation about everything from statistic literacy. Now to invite on stage the Deputy Director General of Somali National Bureau of Statistics, Mr. Abdulrahman Omar Daya, for the final remarks. Thereafter, we will be breaking for lunch. And I can guarantee you that lunch is on the house. So, go ahead. Abdulrahman, welcome to stage. A round of applause for Deputy Director.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First, I would like to thank you all, Your Excellencies, leaders, the guests, for taking this great time to attend this great event. So please allow me to make a few concluding remarks before the end of this successful event. Today is African Statistics Day. The SNBS is celebrating and organizing this great event. So our aim is that to modernize the statistical system. As we now celebrating statistical African Statistics Day, we are publishing Somali Facts and Figures booklet 2020, statistical bulletin, as well as we already conducted several surveys to fill out the existing statistical data gaps. And our plan is to conduct several surveys, including household budget survey, multiple indicator cluster survey, and as well as the plan for Somali population and housing census. So, in organizing like this event, so our plan is also to make the user of statistics high-level forum like this one, so that we will be discussing about the importance of statistics, data usage, all that. So I would like to thank you all for your attendance, participation, and kind remarks on related data ownership, data usage. As we are already highlighted, we have national strategy for the development of statistics. We also developed data quality assurance framework for the existing statistical data we have, including consumer price index, GDP, as well as the SOMCAF, the statistical surveys that we conduct. All of that, we'd like again to thank you for your great participation, and thank you all.
Now I just I came on stage. I came back on stage just for housekeeping. So we can all go and proceed to the restaurant for lunch.